Okay, and welcome back to another video. Okay, Obi, I am shooting this video in outside of the home. So maybe I feel uh, hot because the sweetness will be sweet. Sweetness are calm. You can see here. Okay, in last video we talk about the five tablets by one video, one tablet. But today we have a letter by the State Citizens College, Citizens College, Nottingham University, Newark on Trent, Nottingham, November 7th, 1936. Okay, great. My dear professor, if in your further digging into those ruins of Babylon, you encounter the ghost of a former resident, an old camel trader named Dhavasar. Do me a favor, tell him that his scribbling upon those clay tablets so long ago has yearned for him the lifelong gratitude of a couple of college folk, folks back here in England. You will possibly remember my writing a year ago that Mrs. Scrivery and myself intended to try his plan for getting out of debt and at the same time having gold to jingle. You may have guessed even tough, even though we tried to keep it from our friends, our desperate strait, we were frightfully humiliated for years by a lot of old debts and a read sick for fear some of the tradespeople might start a scandal that would force me out of the college. Okay, we paid and paid every shilling we could squeeze out of income, but it was hardly enough to hold things even. Besides, we were forced to do all our buying where we could get further credit regardless of higher costs. It developed into one of those vicious circles that grow worse instead of better. Our struggles were getting hopeless. We could not move to less costly rooms because we obeyed the landlord. There did not appear to be anything we could do to improve our situation. Okay? Then here comes your acquaintance, the old camel trader from Babylon, with a plan to do just what we wished to accomplish. He jolly well steered us up to follow his system. We made a list of all our debts and I took it around and showed it to everyone we obeyed. Okay, I explained how it was simply impossible for me to ever pay them the way things were going along. Okay, they could readily see this themselves from the figure. Then I explained that the only way I saw to pay in full was to set aside 20% of my income each month to be divided pro rata, which would pay them in full in a little over 2 years. That in the meantime, we would go on a case basis and give them the further benefit of our cash purchases. They were really quite decent. Our greengrocer, a wise old chap, put it in a way that helped to bring around the rest. If you pay for all you buy and then pay some on what you obey, that is better than you have done. For ye ain't paid down the account known in 3 years. Finally, I secured all their names to an agreement binding them not to molest yours as long as that 20% of income was paid regularly. Then we began scheming on how to live upon 70%. We were determined to keep that extra 10% to jingle. The thought of silver and possibly gold was most al- alluring. It was like having an adventure to make that change. We enjoyed figuring this way and that to live comfortably upon that remaining 70%. We started with rent and managed to secure a fair reduction. Next, we put our favorite brands of tea and such under suspicion and were agreeably surprised how often we could purchase superior qualities at less cost. It is too long a story for a letter, but anyhow, it did not prove difficult. We managed and write cheerfully at that. What a relief it proved to have our affairs in such a shape we were no longer persecuted by past due accounts. I must neglect not, however, to tell you about that extra 10% we were supposed to jingle. Well, we did jingle it for some time. Now, don't laugh too soon. You see that each too sporty part, it is the real fun to start accumulating money that you do not want to spend. There is more pleasure in running up such a surplus than there could be in spending it. After we had jingled to our heart's content, we found a more profitable use for it. We took off an investment upon which we could pay that 10% each month. This is proving to be the most satisfying part of our regeneration. It is the first thing we pay out of my check. There is a most gratifying sense of security to know our investment is growing steadily. By the time my teaching days are over, it should be a sum large enough to the income will take care of us from then on. All this out of my same old check. Difficult to believe, yet absolutely true. All our debts being gradually paid and at the same time our investment increasing. Besides, we get along financially even better than before. Who would believe there could be such a difference in results between following a financial plan and just drifting along? At the end of the next year, when all our old bills shall have been paid, we will have more to pay upon our investments, besides some extra for travel. We are determined never again to permit our living expenses to exceed 70% of our income. Now, you can understand why we would like to extend our personal thanks to that old chap whose plan saved us from our hell on earth. He knew he had been through it all. He wanted others to benefit from his own bitter experiences. That is why he spent tedious hours carving his message upon the clay. He had a real message for fellow supports and a message so important that after 5,000 years it has risen out of the ruins of Babylon, just as true and just as vital as the day it was buried. Yours sincerely, Alfred H. Shrewsbury, Department of Archaeology. Okay, this is all about the chapter number 10. After five tablets, this is the letter. First letter, there in the first letter, they describe about the five tablets. And after the describing the five tablets, they have another letter, that is this letter. I now read. Okay, in next video we talk about the chapter number 11, the luckiest man in Babylon. Okay, until that, be happy and keep smiling. Okay, bye. And thanks to you guys and also my Krishna Lord who gave me life to live. Okay, bye.